I have 8 books that released in April of 2025 that I cannot wait to tell you about. So many of them are just new favorites for me. And I would love to hear in the comments below from you, what is a book that released either this year or in the last couple of years that you've just loved, that's one of your new favorites. So the first one is Candle Island by Lauren Wolk. Definitely check out the author interview I have with her on my podcast, Book Cuddle. This is just, it is one of my new, just top favorite books that I will just love forever and ever. The emotions that I felt as I was reading this book are the reasons that I love to read. So it's about this girl and her mom that moved to this island, and they're kind of trying to figure out their place and where they belong here, because there's 2 groups of people: the summer people who come just, of course, for the summer. That's why there's summer people, and they're really, really wealthy. And then there's the people that live, the island people that live near year round. And so where do they fit in? And they're trying to kind of interact and figure things out. And there's some little mysteries on the island and a mystery about the characters in the book that you figure out. It's beautiful. The writing, the voice, the words, imagery, it's all powerful and wonderful. I loved it, and I hope you will too. The next one is it's a Alice in Wonderland kind of retelling taking place in African culture. And it's so beautiful in multiple ways. The words, the imagery, and then these illustrations are just gorgeous. The author illustrated several pictures in this book that they're just, you gotta look at them. They're just beautiful, just like the cover. Some of them are in color, some of them are black and white, and it's just wonderful. So this girl, she grows up with a sister who she's so close to, but then she just doesn't feel like she belongs in her community where she lives. And so she goes on this magical adventure in Wonderland for this culture. I don't know, but it ends up being not what she expected in the end. So there's danger and mystery, and there's so much to the story, more than it just being a similar story to Alice in Wonderland. And I just loved it so much. It is just powerful and pulls you in an incredible way. All right, now let's talk about emotion on a whole nother level. The Daughter of Auschwitz. Oh, wow. So this is written by a survivor of the Holocaust, okay? There are not very many survivors of the Holocaust still alive today in 2025. So this survivor was a child during the Holocaust. And she tells her story of what it was like to be like this little 5-year-old girl. So just in case you did not know going into it, maybe a child going into it did not know that it's written by a survivor of the Holocaust, it starts with the girl being 12. And I really like this because so often we think about how terrible the Holocaust was, but we forget about how hard these people's lives were as a result of the Holocaust, of how things continued to be awful for them. And so she's in America and going to school as a 12-year-old, and it's still hard for her to fit in. And I thought that was a great thing to realize and recognize, because the target audience is, the middle grade readers. And so that's just a very powerful way. And it is as awful as you would expect it to be. This story is sad and heartbreaking, but also the way she does it, it has some hope to it in some unexpected ways. I don't know, but it's a story that needs to be told, and it's powerful, and I'm so glad that it's out there, told from the viewpoint of somebody who really went through it. So while we're on history, let's go ahead and go to another story of history. Rebellion 1776 is about this girl, this servant girl, Elspeth, and she is living in Boston when things are just getting started with the revolution, right? And when they declare their independence. And at first she's living in the house of somebody who is a loyalist to the king. He's a judge, and so then as things change for her, but the main theme of the book of what it's like for people going through the inoculation of smallpox. And it's a very powerful story because of how hard it is during the uprising of a war, and also dealing with this awful disease, and the family that she interacts with, and what it would be like to be somebody of a lower class at the time period. It's a powerful, really just great book, and I do love that it's a book about the American Revolution, because that's my husband's area of expertise, and so it's fun to read another one out there. Fun? I don't know, it's another awful, sad story, but it's still, it's neat to read another story out there about the American Revolution. All right, so leading out of that and into something else, let's do something Also intense and perilous, but a little less heartbreaking. This is book 2 of Alyson Gerber's The Liars Society. And so in book 1, this girl is into selling, and because of her ability to sell, she's offered a scholarship at this very prestigious school where she used to belong to just, a regular middle class population. Now she's hanging out and rubbing elbows with some really, really wealthy kids, and that really changes her life. And she is invited to participate in this very risky game, as the book 2 is called. And it starts in the first book, where she is going to have the opportunity to be a part of this society that her peers, the other kids her age, if they complete these certain challenges, they'll be part of this very prestigious secret club. And I mean, who doesn't love a book about secret clubs and high society, right? And so it is very perilous, and there's a lot of quick thinking and danger and fun in this book. So in Percy Jackson, one thing that we learned from that whole series is that monsters are the worst in Greek mythology, right? Well, what about the descendants of these monsters? So this is a very different take on, Greek mythology and the descendants, these people who are half, powerful mythological creatures, and then the Percy Jackson books. Because Katherine Marsh has this book, the book 1 is Medusa, and so these characters are at this school, kind of similar to, in Percy Jackson and Camp Half-Blood, but they discover that they're descendants of the monsters, and the Olympians do not look upon them happily. And so the girl, she's going out to share the power of, telling your own story. And the adventure just continues from book 1. It's quick, it's powerful, it's a fun, really exciting book. All right, so next we have Unboxing Libby. So this is about an AI who these robots are all sent to Mars to settle this community, to prepare it for the humans who will be coming later, because of course in the future Earth has been destroyed and is not very livable, not very good conditions. But what happens when the robots, start to evolve and come into themselves? And it's got some really great themes that us non-robots can take from it about being yourself, about being a friend, what it means to be you. And it had so many turns and things that I didn't expect, and so much fun. I thought it was so great. All right, so the last one is A Day at the Beach. So this is a compilation of a lot of short stories, and they're really just snippets into these different kids' experiences at the beach. And some are heartfelt and emotional, and some are funny, and just lots of different experiences. But again, there's not a lot of resolution because of the way they're just this brief look, this glance into it. But a lot of emotion is still felt. And so if you go into it expecting that it's just a snippet of what is happening, and there's some overlap, it makes for great, really short read alouds or something when you just need a quick little fun story. Tell me in the comments below, which of these 8 new middle grade 2025 new releases are you most looking forward to reading or sharing with a child in your life? Which would be the perfect fit for a child that you know? And then if you enjoyed this video and you want more great videos about books to share with the kids in your life, please subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, and come back and I'll keep sharing more great books for the kids in your life. Bye.